that there is real money available to them.
Okay, now you mentioned, Suzanne, a program, Independent Foreclosure Review. So I think what we need to do is talk about that. So
Sure.
let me give Raphael an opportunity, or Keith, whomever might be best equipped to tell us what's the Independent Foreclosure Review.
So the Independent Foreclosure Review Program is a program that's being administered by the federal government. The lead agencies are the Federal Reserve Bank and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. And basically they found that foreclosure processes were being mishandled by 27 of the largest mortgage companies in the country. And as part of the settlement for the fact that they were mishandling these foreclosure proceedings, this program was put into place where the lenders need to get consultants to review any foreclosure proceedings between 2009 and 2010 that may have been mishandled. And there's an entire framework for remediation where eligible homeowners that went through this process could get up to $125,000 plus damages, equity.
So we're talking about millions of homeowners, are we?
Exactly.
And they're consultants who are going to review each of the foreclosure proceedings or the foreclosures to determine whether there was some wrongdoing going on?
Exactly, but it's really for those homeowners that or those people that went through the foreclosure proceedings who seek a review. They're not automatically doing it for every person that qualifies, only the ones that request it.
So the idea then is to get this information to people so that they can fill out applications. How do they request the review?
So they can go online to independentforeclosurereview.com, which is a website that is set up by those regulators, and it has a lot of these forms. It includes information as well as a video on how to fill out the request form. But really what we're trying to do, and the reason that we're working with New American Media, is because we think it's really important for these individuals to actually go to the experts, the housing counseling agencies, legal organizations like Keith's, and to seek advice to see whether this is in fact something that they could benefit from, and whether it's something that they should apply for.
I find this absolutely amazing. All of the homeowners who've gone through foreclosure from 2009 to 2010 who are declared eligible can get back up to what, $125,000?
So, as Raphael pointed out, there's a framework for remediation. It's pretty complex. There's a few things that I would like to just point out. So the foreclosure process, as I understand it, that this review is covering, starts with something called a notice of default. That's what triggers the foreclosure process. All the way through somebody losing their home at a foreclosure sale. It may be that somebody didn't lose their home, but there were still some errors made by the loan servicer in the process of trying to figure out, of the person trying to save their home or of the foreclosure sale.
Like robo-signing?
That's one.
Yes.
For certain. Misaccounting, misapplication of payments such that the person went into foreclosure perhaps and maybe shouldn't have. And so one of the difficulties though for the folks that have, people that have lost their home is finding them. And so part of the difficulty with the way that this program is set up is that folks have to apply, as Raphael just said, but it can be difficult to reach those people with mailers as the federal government was doing.
Just in case somebody is eligible and will be in the position to get back $125,000, is there any stipulation in terms of the use of this money? Are there any, when can the person expect the money?
That's actually a really great question. To request a review, you're just initiating the process. Where these consultants are going to start reviewing the files and the proceedings and to see if there was any damage. How long that could take is not really specified.
And this is all money coming from the federal government?
It's coming through the settlement from the banks. And to be clear, the 125,000 is the largest
maximum.
amount, maximum. There's a much lower floor. I actually don't know, Suzanne might know off the top of her head if it's $2,000 or if it's something even under that. I do have a list here of just a few of the highlights of, I shouldn't say highlights, some of the examples that may have led to a financial injury that this review is intended to cover.
Okay, before you get into that, Suzanne does have a way of hearing me. So, Suzanne, are you there?
I am still there.
Yes, and you could hear about how much money is available. I think Keith said 125,000 is the maximum.
Yes, that is also my understanding, that there really is real money, and we're not talking, small amounts. Of course, it's a case-by-case basis, but, for there to be up to $125,000 available to help homeowners who were victims of unfair foreclosure process, is extremely significant, and could make a world of a difference to several people that I've interviewed personally for stories and profiles that I did, when foreclosure was at its worst, in the past few years.
So
just something that I wanted to echo and really supplement is that a lot of people are unfortunately under the impression that this program is a scam, and who could blame them, right? Most of them have been scammed by independent parties promising them speedy modifications, right, loan modifications, etc. These poor people had no idea what actual valid, credible resources were available to them in the form of HUD-certified counseling agencies and other professional...
So, Suzanne and Raphael and Keith, since it does sound too good to be true, how do you then...
Right, I actually spoke with a woman a few weeks ago, a colleague and I were doing just some preliminary interviews with people that we had previously interviewed for other stories, just to see if they were aware of it. And we were telling them actually that we did enough research to clearly say that it's very true. And sure, it sounds too good to be true, but it's just.
How do you convince people that this isn't a scam?
Well, I think doing this show and getting information out, and one thing that our service is going to do is send out a letter to clients who may have been affected. We can't determine that. As Suzanne pointed out, it's a case-by-case basis. But to encourage people to apply, there's not any harm in applying. It doesn't cost anything to apply. And I do have the application here so that folks can see it. When they go online to look for it, they know that they're getting the legitimate application. And it's got a cover page, and then...
And it asks, of course, for a lot of personal information.
It does ask for personal information. It asks for mailing address, information about your home. Yes. And
now, you were talking about the type of what it would be to allow people to qualify,
Yes.
what type of situations they had run into. So could you give us a few of those?
I think that's really important, because people want to have an idea, well, would this apply to me? Should I even take the time to apply? And if you have questions about that, you can speak to an agency, a HUD-approved counselor.
Can you give us an example of something that would qualify
Absolutely.
someone?
So the mortgage balance at the time of foreclosure was more than you actually owed. So that's what I was alluding to earlier. There was an error in the accounting, and the servicer says you owe X amount, $100,000, but maybe you only owed $92,000, and they foreclosed. So there was an error in the accounting. Another one with the loan modification, you were applying for a loan modification. You submitted the paperwork. You were told, and this was rampant in 2009 and even 2010 as compared to today. You were told everything's submitted, everything, you're under review, and then the house is sold at the foreclosure sale. We'll probably talk a little later about some protections that exist now where, not that that can happen, but it is less likely to happen now. So those are two really good examples. Fees charged that shouldn't have been. You were protected by bankruptcy. You were in bankruptcy, but the foreclosure happened. And this information is at the website, independentforeclosurereview.com. But I think having those tangible examples is important.